Sharri joins us now. She, of course, writes for The Australian. She kicks ass all day, every day. And I want to say publicly what I would always say to you privately, mate. Congratulations. You have stood absolutely firm on this. And as the days roll on, the data gets stronger, that this is a very likely source of where this thing came from. Tell us, what is the latest rock-solid information that we have that this is where things got out of control?
Well, thank you so much for such wonderful, kind, generous words. And I've been so grateful for your support, for Chris Kenny's support, and for Andrew Bolt's and everyone else, because the attacks from the left-wing media to try and stop us even looking at, even investigating this issue over the past year have been unrelenting. Not just the ABC, but 9 newspapers, the Sydney Morning Herald as well, and the Guardian. They didn't even want this to be examined, and it never made any sense. This is a logical place for an investigation to look at. The virus broke out in Wuhan. As you just said, the Wuhan Institute of Virology deals in the world's most dangerous coronaviruses. And they didn't just have them in their freezers, but they were genetically manipulating them, altering them, doing what's called gain-of-function research, where they make the viruses even more deadly, even more transmissible to humans. And they do this by combining, doing recombination events, both in petri dishes and with animals, to create brand new viruses that have never existed in nature before. This type of research is so dangerous that it was banned by the United States government. There was a pause on it in the Obama administration. It was inexplicably lifted under Anthony Fauci in 2017. He didn't tell anyone. But even when it was banned by the United States government, the money was still flowing through to China into these unsafe laboratories. And that's where the research was happening. So there are dozens and dozens and dozens, and I've read them. I've read a lot of them, if not all of them, research papers that this work with the Wuhan Institute of Virology were doing. It tells you exactly what projects they were doing, what viruses they were making. It is astonishing that this was allowed to continue.
Yeah, think of it literally, sort of, the ability to splice and dice, to add, to supercharge things. Now, the worst possible way of that is, of course, trying to come up with bioweapons. Other ways is trying to work out what potential bioweapons might be so you can work out how to have antidotes for those. That's what part of that research is, right? And again, while I am just as critical of China as anyone else with a sane brain, it's an accident here that seems to have been the situation that has got it out of control. They, of course, blocked off the domestic flights while the international flights kept going, and anyone who wants to call them out, of course, it's shoot the messenger, just like it is for you telling the story. Now, the American part of this and Biden is that Biden clearly does not want to engage aggressively China for what happened in the lab and the failures after what happened in the lab. There was some questioning that happened today from Fox News reporter Peter Doocy, among others, in the White House briefing. Here's what the White House spokesperson for Joe Biden had to say under some pretty tough questioning.
COVID-19 may have been man-made and escaped from a lab in China are a wacky conspiracy theory, or based on what he has heard and been briefed on, does he think that's possible?
Well, we went through this journey together yesterday, so let's do it again. So the president believes there needs to be an independent investigation, one that's run by the international community.
So passive-aggressive, and she can afford to do that because much of the mainstream media attention is like this garbage, which is being peddled by the Biden Booster Network, otherwise known as CNN. Roll this one.
I don't know what caused COVID, and I don't think anyone else does in this country, if they're being honest. And I do believe we owe it to the almost 600,000 Americans that this disease took from us and their families and loved ones to figure out the reason. See, but you know what's easier than figuring it out? Making assumptions, playing with little bits of fact to forward an agenda. On the political right, you'll certainly see it, but you may see it on the far left as well. We just haven't. But on the right, they're all about it. Why? Because the more this is about China being sneaky, the less it is about our leadership failing under Trump.
The far left, you heard what the White House had to say about this, where they put on the patronising pants and let's go on this journey again. That's why Biden can keep getting away with it, why they don't feel the pressure to work out what did Fauci know, where did money go, because they think this is just a right-wing fervour dream.
Well, look, It's extraordinary that there has not, to this point, we're up to what, 3.4 million people have died, have lost their lives. That's 3.4 million families around the world who have lost a loved one, not to mention the number of millions more of infections, people who've lost their business, people who are now thrown into poverty. There has been no investigation. There were presidential commissions when JFK was shot, after 9/11. There were presidential commissions, yet on this issue, where 3.4 million people have died, no investigation, no US leadership on this at all. Under either administration, actually, there should have been a proper investigation. How has this not happened yet? And you know what, Paul? It quite frustrates me when I hear people say that we're never going to know the answer because China won't, open its books, won't release the virus database. There is a wealth of information that people in the United States, in Australia, in Europe hold about the activities that were going on at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. All of their research was done in collaboration with the international scientific community. But it's up to people. There's this great guy in the US who's been launching lawsuits to get FOI documents, and he's had amazing success in some parts. But the NIH, right, Fauci's NIH, has refused to release any FOI documents. He's launching lawsuits against them. But it's just one guy. He's just a journalist who has experience in genetically modified food. My point is there's been no inquiry. The people who are collaborating and funding the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the scientists, the health officials within the government, they need to be asked formal questions. Their emails need to be subpoenaed, their correspondence. There is just so much at our fingertips that we would have, to solve the puzzle, to piece together the puzzle. There is a lot in the West. This doesn't only come down to China.
Oh, bloody oath. Sharri, you're a rock star as always. We can see you in a couple of weeks when you're back in the big chair here at Sky
Thank
News.
you.
Why? Because you're working on a brand new book, which will be out a little bit later in the year, and we will celebrate it loudly. Thank you, Sharri.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it.
It is available for pre-sale. It is available for pre-sale if anyone wants to buy it. It's on Booktopia or Amazon.